Hi everyone, I'm Kat and welcome to my channel, Naturally Beautiful Girl. So today I'm sitting down to do one of my probably most overdue videos, and that is the best and worst of liquid eyeshadows. And if you have been subscribed to my channel for any length of time, you have probably been aware of my deep love for liquid eyeshadows. And it wasn't always this way. The love kind of evolved as my life changed and as my style of makeup changed. I really like liquid eyeshadows because they provide a really fast eyeshadow look. You can just throw on one color, blend it out, and you're good to go. It's perfect for traveling whenever we can travel again, or if you're getting ready really quickly in the morning, or especially right now, I find it really great for Zoom makeup, where you just want to have a little bit of something to help define your eyes, but you know, you're sitting in front of a camera and you're really not going to be able to tell if you have on an intricate eyeshadow look or not. And so why this video has taken me so long is actually for a very exciting reason, which is that there have been so many liquid eyeshadow releases. Every time I get ready to sit down and film this video, it's like I turn around and there's another liquid eyeshadow that is launched. But I finally have decided to just go with what I have, talk about what I have, and I'm sure once I film this video, there will be even more liquid eyeshadows that come out. But you know what, when that happens, we can do a part 2 or just kind of keep adding to this as we go along. I have 8 different liquid eyeshadows that I'm going to be talking about today. Some of these eyeshadows I have multiple colors in, and that's a pretty good indication I like the formula. But I'm going to be walking through today and talking about the formula, the colorways, just how easy I find them to use, do they wear well, etc., etc. I first should start by saying that I have oily hooded eyelids, and prior to applying any eyeshadow, liquid, powder, cream, whatever it is, I always use the Air & Spaces eye primer. This eye primer has been completely game-changing for me, and I know it has been for some of you as well. It does a really amazing job of helping eyeshadows stay in place and not crease and move around. So all of these eyeshadows have been tested on top of the Air & Spaces eye primer, just for reference. And that's what I use to really help with eyeshadow staying in place. Because to be really honest, if I don't use an eye primer with my oily hooded eyelids, any eyeshadow I put on is going to move around and transfer on me. So actually, I'll go from worst to best. And there's some that are in the middle that are kind of just interchangeable, but I really want to just kind of start with the worst and then move to the best. Okay, so for me, and I know everyone has different opinions on these products. I know everyone's looking for different things. So I'm just going to give you my opinion and my thoughts. So the first one I'm going to start off with is the Juice Beauty Liquid Eyeshadow. I have this one in the shade Mimosa. And I'm going to start off by saying that part of the reason why I don't like this eyeshadow is the shade of it. I just find it to be too orange. When I was looking at swatches online, I didn't realize quite how orange this shade is. But there's a reason you never hear me talking about it. It is just because it's a pretty awful liquid eyeshadow formula. And I'm trying to swatch it here for you, but it's honestly took me quite a bit of building to even get a swatch to show up here. And I just don't find it to be that pigmented. I don't find it to be that metallic. I don't find it to blend easily or wear easily on me. I don't like the shade of it. It's just not a good formula. That's why you really don't hear many people talking about this in the clean beauty space. Sorry, I just realized I have 9 liquid eyeshadows. I looked over and just saw one more. This one from Juice Beauty is one of my least favorites. It's just not worth your money. Like, it's just, the level of impact is just not there. It's just not a great product. It is a bit thicker of a, it's not like moussey, but it's definitely not a liquidy liquid eyeshadow in terms of consistency. Okay, so next up, I'm a little bit sad to say this one is also not one of my favorites. This one is the Jane Iredale Eye Sheer. I got this one in the Jane Iredale Advent Calendar. I will link that video up above where I share all the Jane Iredale holiday sets. And this one in the shade Champagne came in that Advent Calendar. And it's okay. It's just, I've tried better liquid eyeshadows in the clean beauty space. It's a bit on the moussier side. The shade Champagne is very close to my skin tone. You can just kind of see it picking up the light there, but I didn't find it to be that impactful, and it just wasn't my favorite in terms of formula to work with. I found it a little bit difficult to build up and also to blend out, and that's something I really look for in these liquid eyeshadows, is something that's really easy to work with, and this one just wasn't quite it for me. If you watched my Jane Iredale holiday gift sets video, you'll see that I actually was having problems with it and it felt kind of sticky. I did layer too much on in that video, but even since then and playing around with it more, it's still just not a liquid eyeshadow that I gravitate towards. I think there are much better ones in the clean beauty space. The next one I'm going to talk about is this one here, these ones here from PYT Beauty. I have two of them. I have one in the shade Iridescence and one in the shade Pink. And I was sent these by PYT Beauty. And let me first start off by saying that I think they are nice products, and I'm not just saying that because they sent them to me, but the problem I have with them is they don't fit into my routine and my preferences for liquid eyeshadows. I'm gonna swatch the pink one because this one is quite similar to the Jones Road eyeshadow, which I'll show you in a minute. The main challenge I have with these eyeshadows is they're pretty, well, I guess they're liquid. They're not specifically eyeshadows. You can use them as highlighters, etc. Is that they're pretty sheer. Like, they're glittery, but they're sheer at the same time. I've got the pink one swatched. I'll swatch the clear one for completeness here. I've got the iridescent shade swatched next to the pink shade. So if you can see on my hand compared to the other two eyeshadows, they're definitely sheer. They are really cool and they're really iridescent and they create a cool look. However, I find that they don't wear well on the eye alone. You have to layer them on top of other eyeshadows, preferably I think powder eyeshadows, but if you just wear these on the lid alone, because they're kind of sheer, depending on how the light catches your eyes, at some angles you can see the eyeshadow and see the reflection from it, but then if you turn, then it doesn't look like you're wearing any eyeshadow from another angle just because of the way the light catches. So you really have to layer these products on top of other products. And when you do that, you can create really, really beautiful looks. So I think there's definitely a niche application for them. However, what I love about liquid eyeshadows is their ease of use. Just being able to throw them on, do a one shade wash on my lid, and run out the door. And just by the way these are formulated, being a bit more sheer, they don't really allow for that use. So for that reason, they're not quite one of my favorites. Okay, I have two liquid eyeshadows from the brand Crop, which is sold at Credo. And these two eyeshadows are what started my love of liquid eyeshadows, but I'm placing them right here in the middle of my rankings. They're not my favorites and they're not my least favorites. There are pros and cons about them. I haven't actually worn them for a while, and I realized when I was sitting down to film this video, I actually need to declutter them just because I've had them for a very, very long time, and especially because they go on the eyes. You really need to be careful with products that go on your eyes and not, wear them past when you should. Here's why I really like them. They are a super pigmented shadow. I've got the shade in Gilded swatched. I also have the shade Saturn. My Saturn shade actually was looking a bit dried up, so I don't think I can get a good swatch out of it. I am able to get a good swatch out of Gilded. Saturn is more of like a pinkish color. And what I love about these is they are really budge proof. I actually started wearing these prior to wearing the Aaron Spaces eye primer. And the reason I fell in love with them was because they really stayed on my lids so much better than powder eyeshadows. And I started wearing them like when I knew I would have really long days and wanted my eyeshadow to look good all throughout the day. That's when I would reach for these. I typically would wear them on my lids and then blend a bit of a matte powder shadow into my crease. The one thing about these is they can be a little bit drying, and I think that's what really helps them stay in place on your lids. But they're not the most comfortable to wear day after day after day. I can find them to be a little bit drying on my lid. And also right now, the way I'm gravitating towards my eye looks is I want a really nice like wash of color. But these are pretty intense, very pigmented shadows, which is not something I am personally wearing as much right now, which is why I haven't reached for these in a long time. But I have not encountered any other liquid eyeshadow with quite that level of pigmentation and intensity and staying power as the crop eyeshadow. So if that is what you're looking for in a liquid eyeshadow, you have to try the crop eyeshadows. I think they're completely underrated and definitely deserve more love in the clean beauty space. I don't know why more people haven't tried them and talked about them, but I do think that they're really great. I should really pick up another shade. I think I could pick up, honestly, Saturn again. I remember I really did like that shade, but these are just old and I definitely need to declutter them because they're what started this entire love of liquid eyeshadows, which means that I've had them for quite a long time. Okay, so moving on to our next shadow. This one here is from Josephine Cosmetics, which is a Black-owned brand. I think that I know out of all these eyeshadows that this is the only one from a Black-owned brand, which gets special points just for that because we want to support Black-owned brands. Well, actually brands from Black and Indigenous people of color more broadly, but especially Black-owned brands here on this channel. And I love finding Black-owned brands in clean beauty space. So this liquid eyeshadow, this is the Eye Dazzle, and I have the shade Alaine, A-L-A-I-N-E. Out of all the liquid eyeshadows, this one gets the best packaging. It's just like this Art Deco inspired, really, really beautiful packaging. Josephine Cosmetics knocks it way out of the park on packaging, and this liquid eyeshadow is no exception. The reason why this one is not higher ranked on my list is just, the formula is just not quite what I want it to be. It is a beautiful, beautiful champagne shade, but I just don't find myself gravitating towards it. I don't find it to be quite the easiest to work with. It does wear well on me. I don't know. I think it's just a little bit sheer for what I would like. Like, you can't see the color. There's just something about it that isn't quite spot on for me. It could also be the shade, to be honest, too. Sometimes that will definitely impact my thoughts on it. It's good, I wear it and I use it, but it's just not my favorite out of all the liquid eyeshadows. I guess also kind of tied with that one is actually the Jones Road Beauty, which I recently picked up during a Black Friday sale. I picked up the shade in Cool Pink, and this is their Sparkle Wash. And I'm actually going to swatch this right under the pink from the PYT Beauty because they remind me of each other. And I should mention the, I keep forgetting to mention, I've got too many things I'm trying to talk about. The Crop Naturals, the Josephine Cosmetics, and the Jones Road are all kind of a little bit more on the moussey side. I wouldn't describe them as like a super liquidy liquid. They're a little bit thicker. But here is the Jones Road Sparkle Wash in the shade Cool Pink. It's swatched right under the PYT Beauty Glam Glitter Gel in the shade Pink as well. So you can see there's quite a bit of similarity in the shades. I prefer the one from Jones Road Beauty just because I find when I do a one eyeshadow look, it looks a little bit more uniform across the eyes. It's a bit less sheer than the PYT Beauty. However, it's not my favorite because it is very sparkly. And that's the thing, is when you are looking at these shades, I like it to just be like a wash of color, but not a lot of sparkles. And that's where that one hits a problem for me. I don't know if the other shades are as sparkly. I suspect they are, given the name of the product is Sparkle Wash. That's why I think that they're all pretty similar in terms of the level of like sparkle glitter. I guess I like more of like a metallic eyeshadow. That's a better way to describe it for these liquid eyeshadows, more of a metallic look. But I do like it. It does stay in place pretty well. No complaints on that front, but it's not quite my favorite. We'll put it that way. Okay, so moving up to my next category, and these are two from Pacifica. These are, I always forget what these are called. These are their twinkle paints, and I have two of them. So the ones I have are in the shade Pink Moon and Baby Stars. And I've gotten asked a lot of times if Baby Stars is a dupe for Kosas Globe. It's not quite a dupe. I can swatch both of them. Well, actually, I'll just swatch all of them. We might as well continue on the swatching game. I will swatch both of them. These are very liquidy eyeshadows. I think you can see that when I'm moving around the tube. You can hopefully see the actual product kind of flowing back and forth. It's very soothing to look at. And these, like the Kosas 10-second eyeshadows, have to be mixed because they're this more liquidy formula. They really tend to separate, and mine are both actually separated, so I should give them a good shake before I swatch them. At first, I thought these were dupes for the Kosas 10-second eyeshadows, as many people in the clean beauty space did. However, after further investigation, I think they were actually trying to dupe the Glossier lid stars. I'll put a picture of those up here, but when you look at the packaging, it's just so similar to the Glossier lid stars, which I'm not thrilled about. Like, duping products, especially with having almost identical packaging, it feels a little, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't particularly like that, to be very honest. However, I think these are a great option, especially because Pacifica is a vegan brand, so they are cruelty-free as well as vegan, and also they're a little bit more affordable. I don't remember I'll put the prices of all of these either in my description box or on screen, but I think these are definitely some of the cheapest ones that I'm talking about. So if you want an affordable or more affordable option for a liquid eyeshadow, these are worth checking out. So I've got the two shades swatched on my hand right here. Hopefully you guys are keeping track with every added swatch of what I'm adding. But as you can see, there's a nice wash of color. It's got a nice level of pigmentation. It's not too sheer and it's not too glittery either. And that's why I like these. I don't think they have quite the same staying power as the Kosas 10-second eyeshadows. These do crease on me at the end of the day. When I put the Kosas 10-second eyeshadow on top of the Air & Space's eye primer, it is pretty budge proof, but these do work well. But if I'm wearing them for like 10, 12 hours a day, by the end of the time, these twinkle paints will have creased on me. But I think the colors are absolutely beautiful. And I love that they are a more affordable option, which is why I have two of them, honestly. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the Kosas 10-second eyeshadows. And the Kosas 10-second eyeshadow in the shade Globe in particular has been my ride or die for so long. I went through an entire Kosas 10-second Globe and had to purchase another one, which shows you my love for these. So like the Pacifica, these are extremely liquidy and tend to separate, so you gotta shake them. So I'm gonna shake them. I have three shades. I have the shade Globe, the shade Copper Halo, and the shade Fahrenheit. And the one thing with the Kosas 10-second eyeshadows is there is a variability in formula from shade to shade, and also in like the level of glitter / metallic from shade to shade as well. And that is part of my sticking point with these. The shade Globe is amazing. However, the shade Fahrenheit is really terrible and really patchy. So it is really, really shade specific with these. I can't necessarily say that for all the other ones. Well, some of the ones I have two shades, like those two of the three shades of the Twinkle Paints. I have two shades of Crop Naturals. I have two shades of the Glam Glitter Gel. Like for those, I can vouch for, you know, the formula, but on the Kosas ones, out of the three I've tried, there's definitely variability from shade to shade. Okay, so I've got the three 10-second eyeshadows swatched here. On this side, I have the Kosas 10-second eyeshadow Globe. The Twinkle Paint and Baby Stars is right above Kosas 10-second Globe, and as you can see, Globe is a little bit deeper, so they're not exact dupes. Next to it, I have Fahrenheit, which is more of a matte shade, and I think that's part of the problem with the formula. It's patchy, it doesn't want to blend out. It's a beautiful, beautiful color, but it is a bear to work with, and for that reason, I never reach for it. And then next to it over here, I have the shade Copper Halo, and the Copper Halo formula is more like Globe than it is Fahrenheit. However, I just prefer the color of Globe. Like I bought Copper Halo thinking I'd reach for it more, but I just prefer the shade Globe on my skin. I just think it's more flattering for my skin tone. So I end up reaching for that. I also think Globe is a little bit, when I look at it in the light, I think it's a bit more metallic than Copper Halo. And I just love the wash of color it gives on my eyelids. So I have to say that specifically the 10-second eyeshadow Globe is one of my favorites. However, it's really hit or miss from shade to shade. And I definitely under no circumstance recommend Fahrenheit. Like that is not a good shade at all. Okay, so then we're moving on to what has become my favorite eyeshadow. So the Kosas 10-second eyeshadows come in number 2. Pacifica comes in at number 3, but number 1 is the Ilia liquid powder eyeshadows. I have 2 of these. I have the shade Mythic and the shade Fresco. I'm wearing the shade Fresco on my lids today. I will definitely pick up more shades of these. I wanted to pick up the shade Hatch, but it's been like out of stock for ages. This is definitely more of a moussey consistency than the Kosas 10-second eyeshadows. It's more thick. The Kosas 10-second eyeshadows and the Pacifica twinkle paints are very, very liquidy, and these ones from Ilia are not. Okay, so I've got the 2 Ilia shadows swatched on my wrist. And what I like about these is the formula. They're just super easy to work with. They're not patchy. They give a beautiful wash of color. They stay in place really well. And they sit in between being metallic and not too metallic. Like they're not glittery. They catch the light a little bit. There's a little bit of metallicness to them, but you can create these really natural eye looks. And especially with the shade Fresco blended out as I have today, you can create these very just kind of like wash of color on the lid, and I love that about these shadows. As far as I can tell, at least from the 2 shades that I've tried, they're pretty consistent in formula from shade to shade, and I highly, highly, highly recommend them. I think they're a beautiful product and are one of the easiest liquid eyeshadows to work with in the clean beauty space. So I highly recommend them. Yeah, you can see as they're drying down, they're getting a little bit more metallic, but they're just a beautiful, beautiful product. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me give you a quick rundown from favorite to least favorite. Favorite being the Ilia liquid powder chromatic eye tints, then specifically the Kosas 10-second eyeshadow in the shade Glow, then the Pacifica twinkle paints, then the Jones Road Beauty eyeshadow, then the Josephine Cosmetics liquid eyeshadow, then the Crop Naturals, then the PYT Glam Glitter Gels, then Jane Iredale, and then finally, in the worst place, Juice Beauty. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you like hearing about clean beauty, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell button so you're notified of when I post new videos. And also come follow me on Instagram. I'm at naturallybeautifulgirlkat there. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.